Hello and welcome. Here we are on another Worldbuilding Wednesday. Where as soon as we make sure that everything is working, we'll get right to the world building. Very good. Here we are. We've updated a few things, of course, specifically in our, well, setup. You'll see shortly. Here we are. So, without further ado, I mean, we are a minute or two early, but let's get right to it. Here we are. Today, of course, as you can see, I mean, well, it's not much of a difference, but we are in our newsroom. Not for any particular reason, but because I prefer having a desk in front of me to work here, as opposed to our other ones in which the desk, well, we just don't have the desk in the other one, but I mean, look, it's not like there's much of a difference, it's literally the same room. But I have the conscripts bring in a desk, and I have the clock displayed there, so, you know, let's see here. Today, well, it's World Building Wednesday, as I said, so we're going to world build, but we're going to take things a bit slower and probably spend some more time at it. So, things will be a bit slower as we work on a variety of things and likely ramble. Well, let's just make sure every last bit here is prepared. Very good. Okay. So, where to begin? Well, there's a lot of places we can begin here. Our goal, as per usual, is simply to talk of the world, build the world, and just work on work for the most part. I mean, that's why this all started, to get work on Galactic Requiem done. So, that's what we'll do here. Well, that's not entirely true. Well, it is true why we started this, but let's get work done is not true because we're not going to get anything done more than likely. We're going to ramble, but that's just what happens. But I've cleared out my Imperial schedule to try and be here to take things slower and longer than usual. So, as you can see, for the record, today is the 19th day of the first month of the abbreviated year 7894. For those of you who know the law, it's like 112 billion, 12 million, 200 and something thousand, some long number. Technically, for those, I mean, even for those who know, technically, it's only like, while it does go into the billions year-wise, there's a long explanation for that we're not going to get in here, but it's technically like the 14th million year of the era of, well, the known era, the common era, the era of, well, modern civilization, a non-ancient civilization. Ancient civilization, for those who don't know, because it will likely come up a lot in our lore series. A lot of things are, in the lore series specifically, non-ancient nations, and, well, mostly it's just talking with the words non-ancient nations. The thing is, ancient nations refers to, well, I think there were like 5 nations back in the day that were here. Okay, so I suppose the best way to describe it is when the Empire arrived in the galaxy, there were 5 or so major nations. The Empire eliminated them far before faster than light travel was discovered. Well, we had faster than light travel, of course, and so did the ancient nations. But before the modern nations, the Council, the Enster, etc., acquired faster than light travel. They were eliminated before that, and hence we call them the ancient nations, because they are no longer around and weren't around during a lot of the, I believe, not, I think they were around during some of the expansion era of galactic colonization, but that's pre-FTL. They weren't around post-FTL of the for a long time. It's not like a little bit post-FTL. They weren't around for, I believe. Let me bring up the file. I'm going by memory here. When I have a perfectly good file I can look at. Yeah, well. I mean, it's annoying to do the math from the file, given the large numbers, but still. Here we are. Okay, yes. So, the ancients basically were eliminated about 12 million years or so before the modern nations even achieved FTL. They, of course, had slower than light travel before that. I believe, let me check, yes. For a while, I believe a couple of million years, there was non-fast light travel before the fall of the ancients, and then the ancients fell, and 12 million years after that also, FTL was achieved. And I mean, it's not like the nations were persistent from there. There was lots of rising and falling, and yes. Anyway, so that's basically what we mean by ancient nations and non-ancient nations. Or modern nations, if you will. So, I mean, like, by that terminology, nobody ever calls the empire an ancient nation, really. However, the empire is probably older than the ancient nations. We don't, admittedly, we, the empire, don't have records on the official start date of the ancient nations, but given their lack of a lot of things, it is suspected that the empire is likely very much older than the ancient nations. But that's neither here nor there. We're rambling once more, so let's get back to topic. So, like I said, the plan here today, take things slow and just work on a variety of things. Let's see. Well, I suppose rambling is part of it, but you know. Oh yes, that was all about the abbreviated year. So, even though the entire length of the year, like the star date, is extremely long, we go with the last 4 letters. And hence, well, the last 4 numbers more so than letters. But that's why it's 7894. And I think I said this before, but that does track to real time in your dimension. I mean, for you Elysians out there, our star dates do translate loosely to your dates. However, they're slightly skewed because we don't have as many days in a year as you. Our calendar doesn't work the exact same as yours, but basically, obviously, we use a different start date than you, hence, well, ours. But it's not, in case there's any confusion, it's not 7894, 7894 from your Elysian star date, of course. in old Elysia, or as some of you call it, Earth, because I mean, dimensions and all that. That's the thing. Most of the galaxy that we live in here doesn't deal with dimensions or anything complex like that. There's no time travel. There's no alternate dimensions other than, like classifying folded space or, FTL layers, which we'll cover in our FTL episode of lore, or anything like that. There's no, I mean, there's that, of course, but there's no, like, an alternate dimension where everything's the same except for this. There's not really that. There are technically alternate dimensions. Technically. And there's, like, technically time travel, but once more, that's one of those technical things. There's the closest you get to time travel around here is effects of FTL. Not like the whole, if you move faster than light in real space, weird time things happen. The way our universe works here is our physics are slightly different than your physics. Things such as distance work the way you would expect. If you're looking at something out there, you're likely seeing it in the past. However, due to our layers of space, subspace, hyperspace, slip space, jump space, folded space, which is warp space, but things get, well, warp space isn't a different reality, but it's normal space. But look, we'll cover all that in our FTL series that our lore series. First episode so far we're working on has been FTL, so, Anyway, point is, time doesn't work necessarily the way you would expect it to. It works mostly how you would expect it to, but on occasion, there are little distortions due to FTL fields involving distance. The further you are, the more layers of space, well, not really layers, but the more distance of these layers of space there are between point A and point B, and sometimes due to anomalous effects in FTL, things occur, and it gets a little bit weird, but it's usually almost completely unnoticeable. It just acts ever so slightly strangely. It's not really time travel or anything. Anyway, while there is actual, technically time travel, it is outlawed by the Empire, and it's advanced tech that's not generally available. So it's not like people are running around traveling faster, traveling through time or anything for the most part. And also dimensional travel, another technology that technically exists that is banned by the Empire. And it's also advanced tech. So it's not like anybody has it but the Empire. And I mean, we are called the Empire, the Grand Empire, whatever you want to say, but the full title of the Empire is the Grand Dimensional Empire. We usually shorten it to the Grand Empire or just the Empire. Sure, there are lots of empires, but we are the Empire, There's nobody quite, I mean, we were technically like the first, not really the first, but, given the whole, we arrived before a lot of people even, long, we're not getting that. So, point is, we do have dimensional travel and dimensional technology. We don't use it often. It's why, so I suppose we'll get into some of the deep lore. It's why Elysia is even around. Earth, as it's called, isn't even from here. If you were to travel throughout our galaxy, or any of the nearby galaxies, or any of the distant galaxies of this reality we're in, you will not find Earth, the solar system, or the Milky Way. Any of that. None of that. None of the places you would know of as Elysians, which are humans of Earth. That's what we call you, Elysians. But due to a mishap in a Elysian realm, one of the alternate dimensions, which had Earth, humans, and all that, had a little mishap. And, well, long story short, little bit of dimensional travel from that alternate dimension to this one. And I suppose this is all technically classified, so I'm sure, I mean, you Elysians already probably know this, for those of you Elysians who've traveled from there to here, given that it's your history. But needless to say, due to a small disagreement with the Empire, due to the use of such forbidden technologies, we don't acknowledge. We come to a loose agreement. We don't eliminate Elysia as long as Elysia continues to call itself Elysia and its planet Elysia or New Elysia and Earth Old Elysia. So that's why, if you didn't know, that I call you all Elysians. Because, well, that's the agreement between the Empire and the Elysians of our galaxy. And I'm technically not supposed to acknowledge alternate dimensions. So, like I said, I'm sure this will all be bleeped out on the galaxy end. Well, the end that's broadcasting to our galaxy, but basically that's why I call you all Elysians, and I call Earth all Elysia, and Elysia is just the new one that your new system is called Elysia, so, or New Elysia, depending on which one to call it. But needless to say, that's that. I mean, I can talk all about Elysia. I just can't acknowledge its past very much. So, Elysia, after coming to our galaxy, split into, because we'll probably not, we might, well, I'm not sure if we'll ever have a lore series on Elysia, so we'll just talk about it. Elysians come in a wide variety. They have everything you'd expect, all that stuff you'd expect from your realm. And specifically, how do we put this? Elysians, well, you have a few worlds. I mean, the Elysians in our galaxy have a few worlds. I say a few. You all have like what, 30 star systems or more? You're relatively large of a nation. You have a partial Dyson swarm that you've built up over time. So, you know, that's quite nice. But your Elysians split each other into categories. There's like, what was there? North Elysians, South Elysians, East Elysians, and West Elysians, or something like that. Just broad categories that are split up from your old Elysia. You also have several worlds, all with silly names. Let me see whether I can't find your silly Elysian names. Here we are. Nope. There's a specific file on Elysia. I just don't know where I put it. Here we are. Elysians. Scroll to the top of the file here. Nope, wrong file. You'll have a few files, to be fair. I mean, you are a faction in the galaxy, even if you are a small faction. Well, I don't really want. I know I said we're going to take things slower, but I don't really want to search through my files to find the correct file somewhere here. Yeah, it's probably in a different directory. I'm not going to bother finding a different directory. My apologies. But you have a bunch of worlds. That's my point. You even actually have a split-off colony. Or two. I say colony, I mean entire faction with their own set of worlds. Anyway, interestingly enough, I mean, it's technically like half classified data, but, you know, Elysians in your territory of space, believe it or not, have a little bit of a series of anomalies, specifically due to your. Well, you know how before I said that the Empire brings. Well, I'm not sure if I've said this here. I've said it in the past. The Empire brings stability and order to the galaxy and brings safety and all that. And there's reasons we do what we do, such as restricting certain texts from nations that aren't even the Empire. One of them is because of dangers of these technologies. Elysia, due to their misuse of dimensional technology, actually messed up severely. And surprisingly, even though they were only in the galaxy for a short amount of time, I mean, at this point, a few galactic years, have an entire Dyson swarm. That's because the misuse of Elysian technologies caused what could best be called, well, what's the word for that? A tear in dimensional space? Basically, a bunch of alternate Elysian realities sort of crashed together, causing a lot of devastation to a lot of places, but also exponential realities and so forth pouring through, meaning a lot of population appearing. Anyway, let's get back to actual work. So, let's see. But like I said, once admittedly, as I think I've said before, as I once, well, as I was informed of the Elysians, as were many Imperials during the incident. Well, not many, but, a few Imperial lords were informed to deal with the situation and handle things. As one of them, loosely briefed on the situation, I looked into the whole Elysia thing, got my hands on some of that classified data, and, well, kind of, like Elysian media and the like. So that's why, we broadcast to you Elysians, because I quite enjoy some of that Elysian media and the like. I like your old Elysian books and all that. Let's see here. But we'll save my ramblings about Elysian media and shows and movies and all that for our miscellaneous Fridays. Unless, I mean, maybe we might talk about it a bit, but for the most part, we'll save my ramblings about Elysian media and the like for miscellaneous Friday or something. On one of them sometime. I mean, we also might play video games. Actually, I want to quite pick up the Great Elysian game. What's it called? We played it before, but what happened with it? There's two Elysian games I love that I want to pick up again. One of them, of course, Star Sector. I quite love Star Sector. Unfortunately, last time we played that, it wasn't here, but it was elsewhere, and it had a lot of, I mean, the game, not the game itself, but on the display end, we had a lot of lag displaying it, which was unfortunate. But that was on, it was when my computer was not working as well, so hopefully we can play through that. Also, afterwards, it started crashing a bit because of too many mods, so hopefully we can sort that out. Secondly, I believe Endless Sky? Yes, Endless Sky. Another good Elysian space game that I think we will do again sometime, assuming it broadcasts without lag. And well, I'm torn between starting over and continuing our previous thing because I haven't uploaded them and I'm not sure when I'll ever get around to that. So my plan is to get around to upload everything at some point. So there's that. But I think we'll restart that. Start a new save on that. Possibly. But yes, those are some plans for miscellaneous Fridays. Also, some more of one of my favorite games, Angels Fall First. Another good Elysian game. Space shooting sort of sci-fi game. Good stuff. Anyway, let's see. Let's actually get to work. make sure one last time that we got everything up and working. And it appears we do. Very good. So, one final check. There we are. Now let's get to work. So, here we have our map that we've worked on for our city. Of course, our characters have made that, well, Juliana Aldous, the mercenary adventurer that we follow around. We, of course, track people throughout the galaxy and watch their adventures from our, well, sort of command post. It's not really a command post. Technically, we either broadcast from my ship or my palace. So, currently, we're actually in the palace. Believe it or not. We actually have a map for that, by the way. Is it this one? No, it would be... Bring up the palace display. Yeah, well. Yeah, well. We are currently broadcasting from here. Anyway, that's not really too relevant. Anyway. Oh, I suppose, I mean, it's not really relevant, but since it's World Building Wednesday. There we are. The way this works, as I've said before, is, I mean, sure, we loosely talk about things we shouldn't talk about. By that I mean, like, physics-wise. But that's because sitting before us in that room that you saw there a minute ago, we have a device that defies space and time, allows us to manipulate things. Crazy. It's actually technically a classified device we seized from a strange dimensional somewhat hopping, maybe? Cat. Anyway, well, sort of a cat. Anyway, we stole the device from them. Luckily, Imperial Special Divisions, also known as Omega, let us keep the device. So, here we are, using the device that lets us somewhat break the fourth wall. Somewhat. Slightly. Very slightly. Anyway. So, yes, for information's sake about how all this works, we follow Juliana Aldous and any people throughout the galaxy. There are also, of course, several other characters out there and several other player groups out there who actually play our little Galactic Requiem. It's not always solo, believe it or not. We have quite a few player groups who go about, well, all sorts of things. And technically, everything in Galactic Requiem, as I think I've said before, Galactic Requiem provides a living world, a living universe, if you will, a living sci-fi universe where everything occurs. All the history of everything over the past long time that this has been run is part of the universe. So, as, well, Lord Basil here, broadcasting to you, I am in fact somewhere in this galaxy, broadcasting live from, well, my palace right now. Sometimes the ship travels, yes. But theoretically, I could go over there, or players could come over here, stop by for a nice party, an Imperial party, yes. All sorts of stuff like that. Anyway, I mean, I have met a player group in an arena once. Good battle. They did quite well. Anyway, here we are. Let's see here. So, we're going to work on a map. Our map is going to be of, well, likely the lower area. We're also going to work on a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Details, yes. I'm also going to work on a lot of details. We're going to take things, like I said before, slower than usual. And there's lots of things we need to work on. Like, not need to, but can. I mean, ideally, I want to have a map prepared for next solo Sunday. But also, this is a world building stream, and I do quite enjoy world building. So we're also going to world build. We're going to talk about map design as we design the map. And now, see, I'm not sure how much I'm going to go through with this, the thing I'm about to say, but yesterday, before I went off to a meeting, I decided, you know, I kind of want to today. That would be not yesterday. I mean, yesterday I decided that today, on World Building Wednesday, I was like, maybe I should make one of those detailed maps I used to always go on about. So long ago, I would spend far too much time putting far too much detail into maps. And as I think I said here, I don't reuse maps for multiple things. So, well, a lot of work for things that sometimes were never seen or only used once. But I kind of want to work on a detailed map. Well, I also don't want to waste a detailed map. That's the problem. See, yesterday I was so hyped. I was like, doesn't matter if we waste a detailed map. Let's just build one for fun. But I kind of also don't want to waste a detailed map. You know what? Let's make a base. Yes. Because one of the things I want to do is display to you all, well, one of the things I like working on, it's currently technically being worked on. It exists and it works, but we're working on, and by working on I sort of mean refining, that's what I'm looking for. We're refining the factions and organization system, nations, organizations, mass combat, all that stuff. We're working on basically not streamlining as much as just making it better. So that's kind of one of the things I want to show off. So I suppose we could make a thing for that. Anyway, we're rambling when we should be working, I suppose. First things first. The way we do things, by we I mean I, is we're going to grab this map. The reason I'm grabbing this map, it's not really important, but the reason I'm grabbing this map and that this map exists is it is our base block map. It basically is it's not, so map tools is amazing. It does not necessarily have well, I'm not sure, I've never seen it, but as far as I know, its limit is large. I once, when, so long ago, I made a map. It wasn't detailed, but I was just out of curiosity. I expanded an image of a planet's surface to a 5 foot equals 5 foot scale on the planet's surface. Map tools didn't complain too much at me. And then I put stuff on that map. Point is, map tools is amazing. And just scale-wise, it's lovely. One of the problems, you can't see it due to where I'm sitting here, but it has a memory limit. That memory limit is based on, as far as I understand, the computer and what memory you allocate to it and so forth, or something like that. Look, I'm not good at your Elysian technologies, but basically, the more items and objects in a map, the more it has to load. And so, long ago, when my computer wasn't as good, I had maps with objects. And as my computer got older, and me not being good at computers, some of the maps I could no longer open. It wasn't MapTool's fault, and it was more so my computer's fault, if anything. Like that's my point. My computer could not run that much memory, and so the files wouldn't open, or would have problems opening. So, out of sort of not really fear, but a practical sort of make sure that this doesn't happen again, we have this map. This map is, it also, so there's also a secondary purpose for this map, by the way, which is this map helps limit the amount of memory I use when making a map. It reminds me, don't make a map the size of a planet and try and fill it with infinite detail, please. It also reminds me, basically, for a detailed map, when I go super detailed on a map, don't make it larger than this square. Also, in addition, if I recall correctly, this square is 500 meters, if I recall. I want to double check that. I always forget off the top of my head whether I made it 500 meters or a kilometer. I believe it's 500 meters, because every one of these blocks you see is 100 meters, I believe, also. 1640 feet? Yep, about 500 meters. So every block is 500 meters. We're not limited to the one block. We can expand on it, but it's just, it tells me 500 meters, and it tells me try not to be more detailed beyond this. This is 500 meters. Every subsquare is 100 meters. Of course, we can expand it out to a kilometer. We can expand it out as much as we want, but I don't like expanding it out more than a kilometer, because with our system, so also with our system, this map actually translates out to a map like this, where every square, nope, not that one, sorry. We're looking for this one. A map like this, where every square is 50 feet. It translates out almost perfectly, I believe. Yes, because every one of these squares translates to I believe every one of these translates to 500 meters. No, every one of these translates to 1 kilometer. Let's double check. 330? Nope. I don't have it set to 50-foot squares, so we have to do a little bit of math there. 3,300. Okay. Yes, every one of these is roughly 1 kilometer, so there's 2 of those maps before, well, 4 in one of these, and then one of these translates to, I believe, 5 kilometers, and, well, 5 by 5. And then, theoretically, it can place loosely, with a bit of work, in our hexagonal, I believe that's the word? Yes, hexagonal. In our hexagonal overworld maps, which we use a similar system to the Traveler map system of every square being a hexagonal series of meters and kilometers and so forth, all the way down to 100 meters, I believe they go down to. And we can do that, but we usually break it at 1,000, 500 meters to, well, we break it at a kilometer usually. Anyway, that's some of the reasons why the maps are the scale they are. Because we can combine 4 of those, we have a kilometer square, which translates right over to the world map scale. However, I mean, there's always a bit of finagling when you consider the fact that we're converting meters to feet. And I think I've said this before, but there's also the thing that comes up of, why don't I convert everything to meters and the metric system? Because, I mean, Galactic Standard is technically based on the metric system. Well, it's not based on the metric system, but it's similar to the metric system. And the reason for that being a lot of our systems here are based on books with, I mean, the D20 OGL is 99%, I mean, 100% in, well, I'm not sure if there's variants, but I'm pretty sure as far as every OGL of it I've seen is in 5 feet per square. Basically all D&D, D20 Modern, 3.0, 3.5, 3.75, a square is 5 feet. And all the measurements of weapons and so forth, and basically every resource, not all of them, of course, but, you know, basically every resource and calculation and thing out there is like, here's how to easily convert weapon ranges from weapons into feet. Here's how to easily convert speed from speed of movement from miles per hour into feet and so forth. And so converting everything we already have into meters and things rounding, it just gets annoying. The problem of that specifically lays in the fact that squares are 5 feet. That means a square, if we were to convert it, is like 1.52 meters. And the problem with that is that's not an even number. Meaning, every square measurement is like not going to line up for a starship anymore. Things just get complicated. It gets annoying. So we're just stuck with a bit of haze when converting maps between the small scale and the large scale, because the large scale's always in meters or kilometers or etc., while the small scale's always in feet, up to like a mile. We're trying. The one thing we can convert that we're trying to convert is the base fuel system is in miles per hour and miles per gallon and so forth, which takes some work to convert. I mean, I'd have to go through every vehicle in our vehicle list and convert it, but the plan is to eventually convert that to meters. Actually, we currently have it, so both are displayed. But miles, the gallons of fuel required, we have to convert, which is going to be in each one. So, anyway, that's just a brief. I mean, it's really off topic, but that's why we're going to this map. You know, that's a lot of detail for me just having to go, we're going to copy this map, but I feel like giving the reasons behind what we do and why we do it. I mean, I just think that, like, look, let me put it this way. When I watch things about just how things are done in general, world building, anything, just when I watch things about how things are done, I like knowing why, you know? I like knowing the reasoning behind things. I mean, I could just copy this over and be like, yeah, we're going to use this. But there's reason why. It's not really relevant to the lore or world building, but there's a reason why we have the grid this size. And I just think, like, if I were watching a video, personally, on a map, I'd wonder what distance this was and why it's that way. And so, I mean, maybe not everybody cares about that kind of thing, but that's kind of the thing I care about, so. I'm sharing that with you all for people who do care about that kind of thing. One other thing to note, so if you didn't see, this is 1,640 feet. A little bit of additional information. We always go 2 over to bring it to 1650. The reason for that, also, only on this end and the bottom. The reason for that is every square is supposed to be 100 meters, I believe, if I recall correctly. So these go to 330, so they slightly go more than the total. So it goes 2 over and 2 over at the side and the bottom. Basically, let's copy. City retrieval, we'll just name the map real fast. City retrieval underground, there we are. Make sure we didn't delete the proper one. Good. So, this is just because, basically, everything I just explained of converting meters to feet and things not being even. And as such, if we place all 5 of these, you'll see that it goes, if I've done it correctly, no, there we are. It goes 2 over the line on this end. It also goes 2 over the line at the bottom. As it would, does it both ways, but that's just a random fact about how this works. Now, I know you could slide it over, and it could go 1 over on every end, or it could go, it could go 1 over on every end, or I could just make the red square larger. But, I mean, this is just the way we do things. That one, I don't really have good reason for. I'm sure there's some mathematical thing we could do, or some better measurement, something that's more accurate. That's just not the way we do it here. So, Anyway, our plan, the thing we're basically trying to get to, is to work on that underground area. We're going to work on a lot of things, theoretically. Oh, we do have one little news report coming in. I mean, we're in the newsroom. We might as well display the news as it's just popped up. Where's our news? Oh yes, here we are. We have breaking news. Anyway, where were we? So, we are going to make the underground area, and we're also going to work on factions. I suppose we're going to make a base. The question, so I want to go over faction rules. I want to go over bases. I want to go over large-scale stuff. The problem I face is, sure, we have a device in front of us that lets us alter reality and all that, but I don't want to cheat on behalf of Juliana Aldous. I don't want to alter reality. There's consequences for that. Also, so yeah, let's see. So basically, see, the problem, like I said, going into a lot of detail on maps that won't be reused is annoying. But I want a map that we can use often. I suppose, how can we get around this? Because I don't want to cheat for Juliana Aldous. Or in general. Like I said, altering space and time has consequences. Let's see. So I suppose perhaps we can start a mercenary organization for URLs to work with. Let's see. And we can make their base, I suppose. Another question, I suppose, is Starship or ground-based base? Starship, more than likely. Yeah, no. Maybe. See, I'm torn between a Starship-based base or a ground-based base. There are benefits and downsides to both. Well, not really. Well, yes. I mean, a starship's always, not always, but a starship going from point A to point B. But there's a different aesthetic to being landlocked, if you will. You know, it's just slightly different. There's a different feel to having a base on a world. Now, one of the things that crossed my mind is why not a deployable base? But there's other problems with that, and it's just There's also the fact that I kind of want a base to be non-symmetrical, and if I build a starship-based base, it's going to be symmetrical. Now, yes, not all starships are symmetrical, sure, but look, when I'm building a starship, or the interior of a starship, I really, really, really want it to be symmetrical, you know? So, hmm. Well, let's just work on the underground for a while. Let us quickly swap over to our overview map. Nope, wrong one. We want the full surface map, because this is a one-to-one basically. The reason we're going over to here with a one-to-one grid is we are going to steal this. The reason we're stealing this is we're not copying the map. How do I put this? Basically, I like some accuracy in my maps. So, by doing this, assuming we get it lined up right, what we're doing is noting where these things are, because they likely have an underground equivalent. How do I put that? I mean, it's not, equivalent's not really the correct word. An above ground area, as such, likely has a mirrored, not mirrored, but these are large arcology towers. They likely have underground areas with parking and maintenance, etc., that we need to know where to place them for these stalls and all this stuff. So we place the base thing and then we'll delete it as required to make what we need. For instance, this line, as this is a train, sort of tram, sort of underground entrance area, we're going to have a tram sort of train thing running through here. We're also going to have roads, because there are underground roads. So, you know, trains and roads and everything we need and areas for the buildings. So we're basically just copying it over so we can figure out where these things would be in relation to the surface. And then we'll, you know, delete as needed. Assuming I can find what we require. Hmm. Let me quickly type into our search bar. This will take a moment. But basically, I am searching for railway tracks, which could be in one of two directories. Here we are. Here's directory 2. Admittedly, the search term might not be track. I'm not quite sure. Usually when I make a map, this is the process I go through. I mean, admittedly, I ramble less. But, I search for track, see whether it pops up. If not, research. We'll try train in that one, because that one finished loading. We got trains, but not any tracks. No? Interesting. It might be in this directory. We have a lot of images for basically making maps. We use, as anybody, a lot of images. Always on the search for token packs, Let's see here. But yes. Let's double check. No. One more search. A lot of rail guns. No railways. There we are. Perfect. Took a minute, but I think we found what we're looking for. Okay, so now that we've found it, let us grab one of these railways. Place it there, of course. Free size. Now, one important thing. I have one somewhere on a different map, but I don't have it here, which is going to make this bit slightly annoying. So, normally, when I make detailed maps, often I like getting things detailed and accurate. It's called a detailed map. Of course, things are going to want to be detailed, but I like trying to get things accurately to scale. And one of those things that I've done many times on many a map is trains. The problem is always getting them accurately to scale. That should do. That's not ideal though, because it's not an even number. That's a bit large. That's not ideal either. You can have a smaller railway or a larger railway, to be fair. I think we'll go with the larger railway. Okay, so that is perfect. How many of these can we fit? Can technically fit 2. Okay, very good. Now let's make sure we get the distance noted in. And we just kind of make a railway. There we are. I mean, it's not ideal, but it will have to do. One of the problems I always face is corners. Corners almost always cause problems in these. And anything that's rounded, to be fair. I mean, there's a rounded drawing tool, but it's, I mean, it's fine. But, like, when you're using a grid, things that are corners and the like are always slightly annoying to do, basically. Anyway. So we'll have a large railway section. And I suppose that's one of my very few complaints about map tools. Not the rounded sections bit. One of my very few complaints about map tools is that, well, I'm not sure, it's the grid snapping. It's not the grid snapping, how do I put it? This is snap to grid. If I tilt it and then try and resize it, it's no longer snap to grid. That's one problem. Another problem is scaling. I mean, because then it unsnaps and then it just gets really annoying to work with. And sometimes when you make things, let's delete, there we are, like this, due to that fact, we can't just take this and make it this way, right? That won't work. It's lengthwise. So we have to turn it. And if we turn it, sometimes, depending on how you set it up, it doesn't work with every object, but it doesn't happen with every object. But if you turn it, sometimes it will break basically how it's aligned, and sometimes things get a bit difficult in making things because it will become unaligned and won't match, and then things get weird with the snap to grid when changing the tilt of it and so forth. And anyway, that is one of my few complaints about map tools. One problem we face here is that things are going to need to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Train tracks are going to need to turn to let the trains to turn. I mean, I could just hand wave it, but like I said, when it comes to detailed stuff, I like being somewhat accurate. So, I mean, you know. Anyway. Let's see. Here we are. So we're going to want one going longwise and one going across. So I suppose we'll have actually the up-down version over here. And we'll fix arrangement later. But basically, I want the parallel one to basically be over here. See, that's one another thing. Normally, when you paste, it goes directly at the top left corner, but if you tilt it, sometimes it gets a bit broken. There we are. Perfect. So we'll fix all that probably sometime. But the point is, we have tracks that go up and down and left and right. And we're going to paste one more. Anyway, so basically, other than this, there's going to be actual road crossings. Likely this will remain a road, and this will remain a road. Basically, crossing the tracks there and there. What we should have done is deleted the ground roads here, because it just makes things confusing. Now we can't really select them, not without doing a bit of work. It's not a lot of work, it's basically just doing that, but it's doing that repeatedly. There we go. We're just moving the tracks, selecting the road between the little empty space we left, and deleting the roadway, then moving it back. There we are. And we'll have to do that for the other two sets of roads too. I mean, we can do it a lot easier, like going like this, honestly. Well, nope. Move it all one square. Delete it all at once. Reselect the ones we moved. Move it all back up. There we are. So, we are going to have roadways that way and that way. But we are going to delete those ones and replace with tracks. These tracks are going the right way, so we can go like that. As you can see, because these ones aren't tilted from the correct arrangement, I can paste them via corner and it will line up. So yes, the tramway is going to basically go left and right and up and down. They might turn off in the distance and so forth. We're not sure yet, but basically this provides us basically the station what you can catch going from different directions. Anyway, we are going to have to actually work on the station proper. See, the problem I face, once again, as I keep bringing up, with a detailed map, I don't reuse maps. So, I'm not sure. Like I said, we're going to stay in the city. Yes. We're going to use our powers to manipulate space-time to make sure Juliana Aldis stays in the city. I'm not sure how long she's going to stay in this particular square of the city, so I'm not sure how much work to put into it, which is kind of why I was talking about and wanted to do a, what do you call it? Section of like a base. Because we can upgrade the base as we go, add all sorts of neat stuff, store stuff there, but there's no sensible way to get Juliana Aldis a base. Not one that we can work a lot on the system. What's the word I'm looking for? Or is there? We could make this a hub. Hmm. I'm thinking, I'm sorry, I should think out loud. Let's see. We could ally with a local gang and, like, use one of their headquarters as our base. Because we do intend to do quite a few missions here. We would have to cheat ever so slightly to ensure that we get an alliance with that guy. But it would allow us to use this map, we can work on this map, and use this map as a sort of base of operations for our organization with sort of a lower city gang area. And they can provide us basically the resources, not provide us the resources, but in a, not, when I say not provide us, I mean Juliana, all this, but basically provide a base and the ability to use our organization system to represent them and show off those systems, which I think is a great idea. In fact, that is what we shall do. we are going to use one of the local gangs as our allies. There we are. Nope. Overlapping. Place it a bit too close. There we are. There we go. Now we just need to choose this one and move it over to there. Perfect. I believe this one's a bit too far south. This one's supposed to overlap with that one. So, but I suppose we should fix it while we're thinking about it, rather than wonder later why it's messed up. There we go. I believe that's... Yes, perfect. So, where was I? I suppose we should look at the surface. Because as much as we are going to alter fate in our favor, it is unlikely the gang we shot at will be the ones who ally with us or we work with. So let's check our surface map. Here we are. We will likely work with either this gang, probably, and their territories were over here. So we get the one north of that. That's a park. The one north. So yes. Or this side, but our map ends here because scaling. So we are going to have our base of operation up here. Now I need to quickly find something I should have looked at. This. Okay. Nope, it's this one. Copy. Paste. Place it over this one for ease of use. I believe that's accurate. Five squares? That's not right. I'll tell you what. We're going to ignore that. We're not even using the surface image of it here. That's not, we're making an underground section. Okay, so I suppose one more check. Yep, full road coverage. Okay. I like making my maps accurate, as I think I said before. So I like making sure that it's all lined up. And that's the least lined up. That's not ideal. That will have to do. Okay. So this is the area we have to work with. We'll likely make our little base in there. This is underground, so there's not a lot of... it'll go right up against the grid, basically. That's my point. Let's see if these squares actually line up. I doubt it, but it's worth a shot. Yep, they do not. We have spare overlap. Not ideal, but not a problem. Not ideal, but not a problem. So, what we'll do is we'll delete this, because those will make life a little bit more difficult anyway. We'll grab the wall color, snap that to grid, and then just, nope, token layer. Go to background layer, and draw just one big solid block, because this is the color we usually use to represent walls, or solid blocks. So, from there, we will, of course, edit and add interiors. Now, there's an upside and a downside. I'm about to explain. It's easier to move a map when you have tokens representing it, like so. I could select it all and move it around, but that's also the problem. If I have objects on top of this, and I try and drag to click, let me give you a better example of that. Here we are. If I have objects on top of it, let's say I want to select this, but there's stuff all around it, I would, if I click to select it, I will automatically grab and won't pick up a box to draw with. But that's just how that works. So I mean, if there's a lot of objects, you basically have to select each one manually with a, I believe, a control click or a shift click or something. Anyway, it's not too important. Anyway, like I said, we're going to use this as an excuse to build a detailed map of a base, meaning not only will we return to this map, giving us a reason to work at it, it'll allow us to work on our other projects to explain the variety of systems. Let's see here. Oh, I didn't go over it yet. One of our fancy little updates. It's not really big or important in any way, shape, or form, but I finally got around to editing one thing. There we are. Now, when we open this, I don't need to switch to another file to start working. I can work here without having to deal with swapping to another file and hoping that it loads and swapping between them and finding the right one, which isn't really much of a change, but it's just nice. So, you know. Anyway, still got to organize everything else. I think I've said repeatedly at this point by now, working on a new series of lore videos. And hopefully we can get those out eventually. I'm kind of conflicted, to be honest. Specifically, I'm conflicted between working on, well, how much detail and accuracy to put into a thing, a video. Not like not accuracy. Of course, I want to be as accurate as possible, but basically, how do I put this? I'm just making sure these are 50 feet and 25 feet for use purposes. Anyway, problem is basically I want everything to be as perfect and accurate as possible when making videos. Meaning, I don't want. I mean, here, of course, we ramble and we go on about things and things are off topic and we mess up at words and all that. And, but we're live here, you know? We're talking directly. It's not like I'm worrying about the correct anything. But when I'm working on a video, I get a bit perfectionist because it's not like, I mean, for instance, I want to make sure that we cover every bit of detail on our lore series. Because, I mean, how do I put that? Every bit of lore is, it's not like it's important, but, you know, I want to make sure I don't miss a thing. Because if we go in-depth topics about specific subjects, if we go in-depth topics on specific subjects, the problem then rises where, basically, see, that's what I'm talking about. This one specifically. See how I turned it and it's now not grid aligned? Turned this one and it was, I believe, relatively grid aligned. Look at that, perfect. But, I mean, if you mess with it, it'll get messed up. But this one, turn one, no longer grid aligned whatsoever, which is not ideal. So, like, that's just one of the few problems I have with this. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 there. Okay. So, where was I? Basically, I want to make sure that all my data is accurate because it's not like I want to make a second video on FTL. So, if there's something I miss or forget or leave out, I'm going to have to go back and recover it or have a series, which I'm contemplating, of corrections to mistakes I've made or things like that for our lore series. But I want to be as accurate as possible in my first go. And I'm just a bit, not really perfectionist, but I like making sure things aren't. I have high standards for my own work. I mean, low high standards, but high standards for my own work in a video, meaning nothing is good. So I go back over and over and over, and yes, but that makes it forever to make something. So it's half. Do I want to just go for it or do it perfectly, you know? Also, due to our lore being so big, another problem I face is how much information do we cover? And by that, I mean, like, not how much information, sorry, doing two things at once. How do I put it? Basically, we have a lot of lore. And by a lot, I mean, we have, at this point, just many, 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 many. A few dozen years of lore. And so when starting my lore series, often I'll be like, which thing do I want to work with? What do I cover? Oh, there's this, and this. So, like, how to describe Galactic Requiem? What's important? Where to begin? What needs to be explained? Because the majority of my players have been doing this for a long while. So it's not like I need to be like, oh yes, here's the galactic standard system. Did you know that the monetary currency is a credit? And like where to begin, what to cover, what you all want to know and should know, you know? Where to stop. Which is why our news series is so much easier. Our news series, we cover current galactic events. So it's a lot more improvised, if you will, because it's, I mean, we don't cover the past or history on our news series as much. We we might have a part where we cover our past and history and all that, but our news series is more fun, more freeform. We cover what's new in the galaxy. Did you know that this, and this? And it's a good way to world build, if anything, because we're covering things that are part of the world, but it's a lot more freefall, if you know what I mean. For instance, in the galaxy, here we are. Where's our galaxy map? Here we are. This line has meaning. This line here is the line of control of the system's authority compared to council of where their fleets are, specifically in basically where their fleets are and where they were halted for the most part. And there are currently conflicts going around there, and in the lore series we can just, well, not lore, sorry, our news series, we can just cover that. There's also a few things I want to do in our series that are, how do I put that? Sorry, once more, my brain working on multiple things at once. Here we are. There are things in our laws, and not our law series, or just our series in general, that I want to do that are not, they are currently beyond the capability of our conscripts. Conscripts aren't used to using these devices we use to get all this done. For instance, a lot of our galactic technologies and so forth aren't necessarily compatible with the device we use to broadcast to you. So we have to use a bunch of other things to broadcast to you, and our conscripts aren't the most trained in these systems. So we don't necessarily currently have the capability to do a lot of the things we wish to do. But we're working on that. And hopefully we can bring more quality to what we do. So yeah, that's in the works, but I'm thinking we might, the plan was to do law, news, law and news are the two primary things. There's also additional miscellaneous videos and the like for a variety of other things. But primary focus was law and news. Honestly, despite our inability to do news to the quality of what we expect with what I'm trying to do with it, it is easier to do in general. I mean, we're in the newsroom right now. All we need to theoretically start our news is to open up a display here, which would be easy enough to set up, and talk about news. Easy enough. But, I mean, that might be fun, but see, that's the thing. Like I said before, I like getting things somewhat perfect or high quality. And we can't do that here currently with our conscript's skill ability. So the problem lays in the fact that there are certain things we want to do that we can't, even for the news series, fancy stuff. So, but we can theoretically do the news series, just not with fancy stuff. The lore series is, like I said, it's technically easy, if not easier. We also want to display things and nice stuff that we can't currently do yet for that. But at the very least, how do I put it? At the very least, we can do both series, but the news series is easier to script and, well, talk about what's happening in the galaxy than it is to write a complex thing on the detailed calculations of an FTL drive and how exactly the different layers of space work, and did you know that this and this and this about FTL? We also, I mean, I talked about it before, not really talked about it, but breaking news. We actually lost a starship, a battleship even, in our efforts to bring you the news. Specifically, we got a lot of data pertaining to, well, I believe every type of space. Warped space, FTL, jump space, slip space, hyperspace, except for jump space. We had a bit of a problem in testing and lost an Imperial battleship. We also raised an army and negotiated contracts and so forth with a Imperial Lord, another Imperial Lord, in order to deal with our coffee machine situation. And surprisingly, we lost more forces dealing with the coffee machine situation than in the loss of the Imperial battleship. But, expected. Here we are. Now, we have doors here. Doors, corridors, and so forth that we're going to use to build. So, if you're wondering, by the way, how we lost more people with a coffee situation than we lost with a, sorry, once more, brain working on mapping, than we lost with a situation involving, sorry, once more, mapping, than we lost with a loss of a battleship. Well, a battleship carries about 100,000 soldiers. Yes, we lost more than that getting coffee. Well, getting a new coffee machine, because we had high standards in acquiring that coffee machine, and we had to basically, well, it's not like we had to. I could have just got a coffee machine, but specifically decided to raid another Imperial Lord for a high-quality coffee machine. Well, to be fair, it's not like it was for the coffee machine that we were raiding the Imperial Lord. More so, we're using it as an excuse to raid the Imperial Lord. The coffee machine is basically destroyed, don't get me wrong. The coffee machine does not work anymore. But we could have just bought a new one, produced one. Doesn't matter. But Imperial Lord, long-going rivalry, might as well raid them for their high-quality coffee machine. I mean, sure, probably not the best thing to do given the current conflict in the Empire, but, you know, let's see. So, we've rambled quite a bit. Unfortunately, that means this is more of a ramble Wednesday than a world building Wednesday. But, let's see whether we can actually get to working on the map in a minute. Of course, it just so happens to be coffee time. So, we'll be right back as we get coffee, or at least get our conscripts to try and get that broken coffee machine to work, while I stare at them in disappointment. Yes. So, we'll be right back. We return. So, yes, there's our. Basically, well, the conscripts were intimidated. Hopefully, they will get that coffee prepared correctly this time. Yes, they are using a broken machine. But, after they broke the machine, sometimes, let's see. So, our goal is to build a base and a faction for that base. It could be. Yes, no, it's going to be a local game. Okay. So, to begin, we need a layout that makes sense. And for that, first thing we require is an entrance to the building. And for that, we need a distance, a proper one. Place it here. Grab our door. We want a somewhat sensible layout, of course. So, we have an entranceway to the structure. From that entranceway, there are going to be ways that branch off. There's going to be a basically desk here that is, for the most part, like where you check into the structure. There's going to be several rooms, more than likely, several maintenance areas, an elevator, a stairway, etc. Probably some offices, maybe a common room. We'll figure it out. One of the problems here is finding out where to place each of the things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a large-ish room. This is a smaller room, and we can go as small as 3, theoretically. Which is what we would need to do if we want that there, to have rooms across there. How many rooms could we fit? 4. And we can even, well, there, that will do. In fact, we'll put a space between those ones. Why not? Okay. So, we're going to have a corridor there, basically going along. As we're going to have a sort of entranceway here, there's going to likely be a nearby elevator and stairway. For that, well, we don't want to take, we want to copy. There we go. An elevator and staircase. Sorry, got panicked there for a second. I took my eyes off the conscripts making coffee. And for a second there, I was just concerned that something was going to explode. As I think I've said before, conscripts are a chaotic bunch. What the? Oh. Okay. I manually made that. I was wondering why it seemed longer than 50 feet. There we are. This will have a connected area in which you can actually just step into, basically. A little bit longer than the main corridor. Perhaps like so. That seems interesting. The problem is we can only fit one stairway, meaning we're going to have to extend this so we can fit 2 stairways. One up, one down. Like so. And now to change it down, we're just going to go over to properties. I really should edit the base thing because I copied it from a different thing. And it has a bit of notes on it that aren't accurate. They only pertain to one building, so. My apologies. 1 second. There we are. Here's what we'll do. Shorten that. Go like that. Copy this one. Place it there. Go like that. Perfect. Grab a door. Place the door. And we have an entryway. Copy this one. Paste that. Now I have an interesting little area in which people can basically go up and down. Let's see. We'll be right back. I need to check on the conscripts. Here we are. Sorry about that. Like I said, they're a chaotic lot. Yeah, well, accidentally hit the lights button there for a second. So we have the way up and down. No, that won't work. Yeah, it's going to have to be over here. That's not ideal. Something like that. We'll figure out what to do with the rest as we work on all of this. So we're going to want an actual sort of interior space to work with. Hmm. I had a neat idea. We can have a little station here. Sort of actually a... No. That would be on this building, not this one. As the trains stop here anyway, they would load and unload from this ecology, but not this one. There'll also be a way connecting these two. Likely a small staircase heading down to head under and back up into this train station and so forth. But not on this one, because they're not going to stop an additional time here at such a short distance. You would just travel to there. So, never mind on that idea. Like I said, we consider practicality too somewhat, slightly, in how we make our maps. Let's see. So, we're going to need rooms. I guess we'll have them in this side then. We are going to want larger rooms. We're going to need the scale of things, so we're going to actually start placing objects. Also, let's grab some rooms, like living rooms. This is a worse district, so we will use the two smallest sets of rooms. Will this map do? We don't have one on this map? Could have sworn we did. Of course, we're not copying the map. What we are looking for is a room, a generic room. Ah, not this map. Here we are. We're going to grab this room. It's one of the larger ones. Let's go back to here. We also want the smaller one. For that, I think we're going to have to actually go into our file real fast. This one I know the exact location of, so this should be real fast. Here we are. Nope. It should be real fast, assuming I don't click on the wrong thing. This is the one I was trying to open. Here we are. And there we go. The 20 by 20 room. And obviously it's not that yet, but all we need to do is go like that. There we are. The basic room. Okay. One more moment. Checking on the conscript's progress. They sure are doing their best. Well, that's not ideal, but, you know. Let's see. So we want a sort of complex of rooms up here. To head between and through and all the like. I kind of want it over here. The reason being, if we have it over here, due to the fact that there's the entrance here, there's not going to be an easy way to get a car out. Well, if we have it here, we can have sort of parking in which to pull out there. Because if we have parking down here, there's a train tracks, and that's problematic. You know? Anyway. So we can sort of have our base back here, meaning we have to get a way to get there. It's going to be more advanced than just a corridor running over there, of course. So, let's see what we can do. There we are. So that one's 30. Make one that's like 20. Another one there. These rooms can be connected via doors. It's not like they need to be connected via hallway. But we will have hallways somewhere. Yes. Sorry. Was concerned there for a second. Well, not sounded like, smelt like the conscripts were burning something, which is concerning when making coffee. Generally, you don't want something to be on fire when making coffee. Let's see. The base can be around it, meaning we're going to have a garage there. So, here's what we'll do. We'll go over to our different grounds. Go over here. Nope. Wrong ground type. We're looking for scrap metal. Yeah, well, I'll grab this one. Nope, too much of the same color. I mean, you'd see it slightly, but not in a way I'd prefer. I want it to stand out a bit. I mean, look at that. That's not enough. So, let's grab That's lighter. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. I don't like it, but it's good enough. So when making basically a garage or parking area, cars are generally 4, maybe 5 long. So that's how long we need our parking spaces to be. 4 to 5. We also need an area to drive forward and backward. Well, not really, because there's not a road connecting to it. It's out to there. We still do want some space. So that's 5. That seems like it will do. It's good enough. Make it a bit longer. Plus we can make it a bit taller. Reason for that being we can have a corridor running between them. There we are. You'll see in a second. So, grab that, place that there, shorten that, make that one extra long, why not? And we have a little entrance into the garage. Garage will, of course, have a door over here somewhere. Big one for entering and exiting. Okay. I will be back. This will take a bit longer than before, but I must make sure that those conscripts haven't burnt anything down. I'll be right back. My apologies. I said the coffee machine was broken before. Now it very much is. I'll tell you that much. It very much is broken. Well, that seems... Well, it looks like we're going to have to go back to using the manual coffee machine. Well, coffee device, it's not a machine because it's completely manual, but, you know, at least we'll get coffee with that. We'll not now, of course. This is just likely the last cup of coffee that this machine will ever be able to make. Probably. So, let's just go over there and get our conscript to hand us this cup of coffee. Yeah, that's maybe coffee. Possibly. Possibly. That is definitely maybe coffee. In fact, let's move that up there. Put that on our desk here. There we are. Very good. Now we have our coffee. So, where were we? Yes, working on this. Where do we move? I'm trying to figure out what the scale I want to make the garage. I don't kind of want that at the exact rear of the garage, so I suppose go like that. Yeah. Don't, don't know how many cars we can fit in there. We're also going to require a bunch of other things. For instance, let's grab this corridor, place that there, connect that there, grab this, copy that, place that there. There we are. We'll place that one there. Here we go. So we have a sort of section. Oh, I thought these two were already connected. Appears not. We'll connect those. There. There. Okay. There's going to be a few rooms up here. Could have one room. Kind of want it up here, though. Sort of workshop next to the garage. It would have to be here, though. Because if we want a workshop next to the garage, we do want it to connect to the garage, and we don't want to cover too much of the back of the garage. Why don't we want to cover too much of the back of the... That wouldn't matter, would it? Because it's not like the cars go in this direction. So yeah, we could have the workshop, like, there. I kind of want the workshop to be larger, though, to fit all the tools in there, which we'll grab eventually. We don't want... So, we want a nice base, of course. We want the base of a base. So we can upgrade and improve and etc., etc. But I'm not quite sure how to go about that. Well, it's not that I'm not sure how to go about that. It's... Normally, when I do this, it's a lot of me staring and thinking. And that's, you know, not necessarily ideal. We want to stare. We want to think and stare and also talk, which is difficult. Let's see. So we're going to have a workshop. That's for sure. There's going to be a living area, but it's not likely going to be near here. Well, it might be. We're going to want a living area, a workshop, a common area. By living, I mean rooms. Rooms, workshop, common area, kitchen, you know, bunch of things like that for a starter base, you know? Then from there we can upgrade and all sorts. We can change the layout of the structure as we go. Structures are here, at least. There are ways to change structures. It's just exceptionally expensive. So, you know, it's not like we want to spend all that money doing such things. So you want a good layout that has room to expand. I think our garage is good. If a bit wide, it is a good garage. Can fit a good number of cars in there. A small number, but enough to matter. A little workshop. This workshop seems a bit small. That's my issue here. There we go. That's a bit better of a workshop. Still relatively small, but enough room to actually work in. Going to want a common room and a kitchen. Well, a mess hall also. Let's go to our sheet. Why not? We have a sample. Here we are. Let's find our sample. We can't necessarily, I mean, we might be able to use our sample. It's the standard template kitchen used in starships, which use standard templates, hence, you know. Let's see. Where did I put those? Oh, wrong file. Here we are. This is the one we're looking for. We're looking for, I believe, C for Corvette. Here we are. Yep. Corvette Basics. This place won't have a med bay, so we're not going to get the Corvette Basics med bay, of course. But we will grab this one because it will give us a good sample size. There we are. That's not the right scale. Still not the right scale. I believe this is the right scale. We can check by counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, that looks about right. That's 2. That's 3. That's 2. That's 3. This is about the right scale, yeah. Very good. So if we want a kitchen with like enough room for several people in line, we're going to want it that big with room to spare. Sort of a kitchen common area. We'll actually connect it to the workshop for fun. There we go. We'll figure out where to place the door in a second. An armory is nice, but we don't really going to have a real armory. So we're going to have like a sort of a section there. Why not? Or we can leave that as a wall. Could have 2 small rooms. Sort of offices. Yeah. That way we can do paperwork. Paperwork. Yes. An area for storage. Up here, probably. Next to the workshop. We'll grab one of our other roads. Not really a road, but corridor. Run it along there. So let's go to here. Let's just do this real fast. So we'll have storage sort of like there. Here. Mess. Here. What's the word for that? I was using the word for it and I just forgot it. That's not ideal. And just put mechanic. This is offices. That's a good starting base. Not sure what we'll do with those. We're going to need a few more rooms. Those will be here. Computer rooms and the like. Not sure what this will be. Sort of command or meeting. Sort of like a meeting area. That means this will be electronic and that will be sort of like the boss's office. Boss's office there. Meeting room where he gathers people there. Sort of electronics and digital work there. Not sure what this is, but we'll have this section. Then we're just going to have rooms and the like up here. We're going to go with the smaller rooms. Let's grab this. Actually, that's ideal. That's not ideal. No. We'll go like that. Copy that. Place that. Yeah. There we go. That's not ideal still. So here's what we'll do. Move that over one. Like so. From here, make the storage larger. There we go. Leave the mess as it is. Copy that. Place it there. Make that one too wide. Move it back to there. Perfect. Look at that. Now we can have a corridor that theoretically continues along from here. We don't have control of this, more than likely. And we'll represent that even using the locked door color. Where did I put that? Oh, yes, yeah. Size, free size, there we are. So that's not part of our area. Can, however, copy these, paste these, flip them horizontally, and go like so. How many can we actually have? We want a reasonable number of available rooms to our group, so that's what we'll figure out. There we go. That's not ideal. We can solve that. But if we place this here, we won't be able to theoretically ever expand our parking garage. Well, unless we spend more money, of course. So we'll have our parking garage limited to expansion for now. Go like so. And from there, you can then go like this. "15 rooms? Let's go for 30. Let's just place that and shorten it. Let's see whether we can't achieve 30 rooms. We need 3 more to achieve that. Hmm. I suppose it doesn't need to be even, because here's what we'll do. 30 rooms, and then we will go to my ship. There we are. I believe this is my ship map. Perfect. Now let's grab the bunk rooms. There we go. So that's 30, 40. Why is this one not? That's not ideal. It's not supposed to do that at all. Okay, we can fix this. Go to the room storage. Free size. There we go. Let me make sure it's right. Perfect. There we go. 40. 50. 60. And 70. Oh, hit the wrong button there. There we go. This should do. Place that there. Nope. Better idea? I like it more maze-like, so no. I mean, there's a more efficient way to place these. There sure is a more efficient way. But, like I said, I kind of like the complex nature of it. So, we'll sort of have it like so. I suppose. Grab that. Have 3 offices over here. There we are. Can even make these offices? No. There we go. Okay. So this is our little section of the arcology. Not bad. I mean, it's not ours, of course. It'll belong to the gang that we're going to work with, but it gives us opportunity to expand and work with a variety of things. There's rooms for the people. This is a residential arcology. And, you know, it gives us a bit to work with, but not enough to be ideal. So, we'll see where that gets us. Okay. It's... So, I suppose we should finish this bit. Now, I know I said this one wasn't ours, but I guess we'll maintain it not. So, this is what we'll do. It connects, of course, but this bit is basically not locked off literally, but that's the edge of our force's control. We'll grab our normal doors. and start placing those around. Obviously, this isn't actually them, but we're going to use that to help design our mess hall. There we are. Suppose you can exit, well, enter there from there. And there to there. And lastly, there. Perfect. The mechanics bay will connect to storage. In fact, we won't have it connect there. Kind of want it to, though. Not sure. We'll figure that out. So, very much like so. Can even take that and place that like that. Or somewhere like that. Grab this, place that there, 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 and there. We will have this, actually, this one, exit into the world. The rest will not. We also need this one. So copy that and place these along here. This one, however, will connect into the outer world. Perfect. Of course, each of these will have a doorway leading to it, which we're going to do, I suppose, later. The offices do need doors. There we go. The beginnings of a base. Of course, it doesn't just end here, but that's where our control ends, so not bad, not bad. Sometime, I suppose, we'll go over design of characters and the like for all that. Let me check something real fast here. Yeah, I think. Let's see. Let's make that mess hall. Go over to here. Grab that one. Place that there. Suppose we'll move that up to there. Grab that kitchen unit and those table units if I can find them. I know where to find them. I go to this one, this file. Wrong section. This one. Perfect. Okay. There we go. Perfect. And all we need now is the kitchen unit. If only I remember where that one is. There it is. We'll go with this variant. There we are. And we have a little mess hall. Perfect. Suppose, since we're here, we'll place down all the dolls. Like so. Lots of dolls. And then the last few, connecting these. And we have the beginnings of our structure. There really should be another way into here. So we will, at the cost of parking space, place that there. Makes sense because there'd be a way, need to be a way for people to get in there. And unless they have to go through there, they'd likely have an... That's what this could have been, though. A way that you have to go to, sort of like a check-in room, but repurpose. So yeah, we'll have it like that. No second door there. Okay. The meeting room does need a thing. Let's see whether I can't find the table that I usually use for meeting rooms. Well, I found one thing. The computer that we usually use for advanced computer setups. Size huge. Pop that there. Now, can we find the table? Is it under furniture or command? That. Oh, here we are. It is under furniture. Good, good. This one? Yes. There we are. A meeting room. The boss's office, which we don't really need to furnish right now. The offices, storage, etc. So, we have the beginnings of a base. I will pop one thing onto here, I suppose. Here we are. Where's our big sheet? Here it is. Very good. For future use, let me go to my other section here. Look for the empty variant. That's not the empty variant. That's not ideal. Okay. We're going to have to risk this taking forever to load. I mean, I'm hoping it's going to load nice this time, but on occasion loading up the online variant of this to get it to pop up takes a while. I mean, we could just get the offline variant, but I'd have to open files for that. I wonder which would be faster. I mean, I've already started opening the online variant. Let's also open the offline variant and just see which is faster for fun. Not really for fun, but, you know. We will find out. Oh, the online one was faster. Assuming it doesn't do the thing in which it loads and then is like, but not really. Sometimes it'll do that. It'll load, but it's not really fully ready to be used. Here we are. Perfect. Okay. Now, theoretically, assuming I set things up properly, That's not ideal. That's weird. Oh. Oh no. What the? Hmm. Nearly, possibly broke things there. That's why, look, like I said, I changed it to do it using this, but haven't used a new system of getting this to work yet. So there are some technical hiccups. There we go. Here we have a, what's it called? Faction, well, not faction, but organization sheet that we will then be able to use to make the organization. There's one fact we do know about the organization. It is going to have one worker unit, at least. Not 200, wrong button there, 100. For one worker units, 1. 1 times gangsters. There we go. Okay. We will have to set its stats and go over all that, but we will do all that another time. I believe we will call it here. A bit longer than usual, but not as long as we seek. But we got some things done, got some work done, rambled far too much, and have a bit of a map. Not the map part that we need, but, you know, it'll do for now. Next time is, of course, Miscellaneous Friday, in which we'll do miscellaneous things. Maybe a game, maybe ramble, don't know. But after that is Solo Sunday, in which we'll pick this back up in actually running the game and see where the bot takes us. I hope you all enjoy, and we'll keep trying to put more world building in our World Building Wednesdays. There is currently also no, what's the word I'm looking for? Date set for our lore series or news series. They're still under production, but hopefully we'll eventually get those up. And stay tuned for more, as they say, or something, as we continue to bring you everything of Galactic Requiem. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you enjoy our constant ramblings. Hopefully we can ramble less and get more work done and more actual stuff done sometime, eventually, hopefully. Anyway, have a good day, and I'll see you next time.